In the early days of American politics, it was very important for those running for office to gather as many endorsements from established elected officials and major newspapers as they could. And if that was the way the elections were conducted back in the day, then Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks has the race to succeed retiring U.S. Senator Ben Cardin all tied up. But that's not the way elections are contested and waged in the era of the internet. Nancy, also Brooks has endorsements from the creme de la creme of Maryland Democratic Society. Governor Wes Moore, U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen, Congressman Steny Hoyer, Congressman Glenn Ivey, Congressman Kweisi Mfume, and on and on and on. The list is exhausting to contemplate, but her primary competitor, Congressman David Trone, is not dependent on endorsements, and he can, as he has proven before, self-fund millions in slick media during a campaign. Is it too soon to predict who will win the primary?
Well, I don't think David's going to pull out because I just don't think that's in his nature when you have all that money to waste. But I think I don't think he appreciates the Democratic primary requires people to show up. The people who show up are in Montgomery, Prince George's, Baltimore. That's where the votes are for this. Is just a primary. If he were running for the general now, that might be a different question. But right now, I think she has it hands down. Those I don't know if those endorsements come with money or support, but it will help her in her effort to raise more money. And in the communities that count in terms of turnout, I think she's going to nail it.
Well, I mean, obviously, those are important endorsements, but they each have their own power base. I mean, also Brooks is well known in Prince George's County. Trone is well known in Montgomery County, even though he doesn't represent much more than a small sliver of Montgomery County. But the question is name recognition and whose endorsements matter the most. Mark, Maryland is a very progressive state, and the attractiveness of a black woman being elected to the U.S. Senate has great appeal. So, are we suggesting that Congressman Trone has a tough go of it?
Well, I'm sure he does have a tough go of it, but frankly, I'm kind of old school enough to focus more on the fact that she made a very shrewd endorsement of Wes Moore early in the race last year for governor. And that's a check that she's cashing now, as you mentioned, in terms of endorsements. She clearly also has a base in Prince George's County. So she has a lot of advantages going into that race. But I agree with Nancy. I think David Trone this is what he's had his eye on all along. And this is his shot at trying to be a senator.
Well, exactly, Mark, because the next, Senate seat is occupied by Senator Van Hollen, and he's not going anywhere for any period of time. I think he's only in his second term. So I want to switch. Let's take a look back though at the 6th congressional race, which is being vacated by Congressman Trone. This week, Nancy, April McLean Delaney, the wife of the former 6th District Congressman John Delaney, announced her candidacy as a Democrat in the primary. It's a crowded field. What do you think about her effort?
Again, she's got the Delaney money behind her. Is that going to get her far enough? I'd be hard pressed to say yes. Excuse my dog. The dog does agree with me on this. The real issue is who can stand out in that very, very large crowd. And it's going to waste a lot of Democratic money, certainly, in the primary, which is what we Democrats do. We spend a lot of money eating our own. So that's good news for the Republicans in terms of fundraising. The 6th congressional district is not Montgomery County, just a bit of it. Most of it, as you know, extends towards a far more conservative crowd. And so the question is, who can get that word out? Even the Democrats, I think, in the rest of the state are not as liberal as the Montgomery County ones. I could be wrong about that, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle for her. But, again, because none of these people are all that well known, she might have as good a shot as any.
Well, Mark, we're not going to turn to the Republicans in the field. We'll still stick with the Democrats. Immediately after Ms. Delaney announced her candidacy, Delegate Joe Vogel, who is also running for the Democratic nomination, attacked her candidacy by saying, "Do you seriously think the answer to the chaos we're seeing in Congress right now is to let another mega millionaire buy the election?" So they're obviously she's going to be a big target, and that's going to be on her back.
Well, I thought the criticism was kind of amusing since Democrats, both John Delaney and David Trone, have had that seat held by some very, very, very wealthy people. But B, I think that the Democratic majority has benefited from the fact that they had very, very deep pockets to hold that seat when it was very tightly contested. I think of when John Delaney was came very narrowly close to losing that seat, and it was only with his ability to funnel a couple $1 million in TV ads at the very last minute. So money clearly matters in that district, and that certainly gives her an advantage.
So, and this question is open to either one of you. I mean, does it really show a lack of confidence that the Democratic Party has in winning this, seat back and retaining it by her entry into the election? I mean, there's several qualified Democrats running.
Look, the ring only goes around every so often. So you get in or you don't. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. And looking at the choices right now, as I said earlier, I don't think anyone is an obvious leader. And that's going to be the challenge going forward. And I got to say, if you're a member of Congress and don't have to spend all your time raising money, that's a good thing for everybody. Regrettably, that's what most people do.
Any last thoughts, Mark?
Well, I'm looking forward to when we have an opportunity to talk about the Republican side of this district, because as you said, this is a very competitive district. It was designed to be basically 50-50 in terms of enrollment and voting history. So this is going to be a race to watch.
Well, so when's Neil Parrott going to announce, Mark? Give us a headline.
I sat next to him or across from him at a dinner about a week ago, and he and his wife April did not give anything away, so I have no idea whether or not he's running.
Okay, well, we'll have to go on to our next topic.